Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the fourth video in the War in the East series. We left off completing one turn, and I recognize that it took 2 videos to get through one turn, so moving forward we're going to do more of the moves off camera, a lot of the admin stuff off camera, and capture the significant action that affects the campaign on camera. So overall, we'll get more content into one video, maybe 2 to 3, 4 turns in one video down the road. So I executed the Soviets' turn, and not much happened action-wise. There was a whole lot of retreating. I'm going to go over the situation as it stands now at the beginning of turn 2, talk the objectives for each of the army groups, and then we'll get into the action. Alright. So this is what we're looking at. Going to zoom out. So you can get an idea. What really jumps out is that we don't see, move this up here, we don't see many Soviets. Where'd they all go? Well, during the Soviets' turn, there was a whole bunch of retreating. And during the retreats, one interesting feature of the game is interdiction. Try to get that word out. Where our Air Force was intercepting movement of the Soviet forces as they retreated. And not many casualties are caused, but I think it reduces the amount of movement the Soviet formation would have during that turn as it's retreating. So that's good. It limits some of their ability to get away, and also it does cause some losses. And during a more exciting Soviet turn, we'll capture some of that on video so we can see. So that is Army Group North, Army Group Center. We'll zoom in. And the pocket's forming. Some Soviet divisions are escaping right through this little gap, but we'll close that next turn. And I did some counting, and it's about 25 formations, a mixture of divisions, brigades. I don't think they're brigades. Divisions and regiments, and also the garrison. Yeah, there are brigades, garrison brigades in here. So it's not a great haul, but again, every Soviet formation we can eliminate is great. And the thought's always in the German player's mind, at least mine when I play the Germans, is that it's just not enough. You always feel that you have to have bigger and bigger encirclements and destroy dozens of divisions, because early on it seems there's unlimited manpower resources at the Soviets' disposal, and it's almost true. But historically, as the war started to conclude, the Russians were scraping the barrel as well. They had lost enormous numbers in men and material. So it does have an effect. Even if it's not the greatest pocket, and it's not the most overwhelming amount of forces that we destroy of the Soviets, then it's still something. So I have to not have that urge to go for too much and overstretch. So I'm gonna be pleased with what we get here. We might be able to get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll probably get these formations as well. These guys are gonna get away. I may attack directly to get over the Niemen River and push them back, but they'll flee. They'll continue to flee east. So that's that. That's the pocket. That's the main feature of Army Group Center here right now. So moving down south, we left off with... Oh, sorry about that. Let me click on the hex so that we're centered on south. Here we go. So we left off with the slice through the Soviets' front line, and then we hit their operational reserves, fought them off, and they began their retreat here in the south as well. It looks wide open But that can be deceiving. As we move east, we're going to start running into operational reserves and retreating units. So it's not going to be all breakneck speed. But hey, it looks pretty good. We got some openings here, and we're going to see how it unfolds, and we can start getting into the movement. I did make a couple of mistakes. Well, probably more than a couple. But I forgot to reassign two. I forgot to reassign. I believe it was Totenkopf. It was attached to an army group, and I forgot to assign it to a corps headquarters. So it didn't get as much supply as it needed, but that didn't really affect it because it didn't fight really. So it had all this build-up supply for it, and I forgot to reassign. Oh, I think it was this one. Maybe it was a 14th. It was a division I was out here. I forget exactly which one. But I forgot to reassign it to the 3rd Panzer Corps. So it was drawing supply from, I think, this headquarters here. The 14th Panzer Corps. So it didn't get everything it needed. But it's reassigned now, and it shouldn't affect it very much because it was overstocked to begin with. So just a minor error, something to watch out for. Alright, so that's how it looks now. And quickly outline the objectives for week 2. Army Group North is going to continue to push north and east. We like to pressure Riga. I don't believe my infantry divisions will be able to make it up to Riga, but we're going to continue to push forward. We'll maybe isolate a couple scattered divisions here, but I doubt it. They're all going to retreat. Starting to form a defense along the river here. We want to establish a river crossing over the Daugava. We'll be able to manage that with our, what is it, the 56th Panzer Corps. So Riga, a crossing over the Daugava. We're going to secure Kaunas and Vilnius. And then moving down, Army Group Center is going to complete the encirclement. Take Minsk and push as far as we can east past Minsk and get a river crossing over the Berezina. So those are Army Group Center's objectives. Army Group South. Army Group South has more on its plate. We want to capture Rovno, Zhytomyr, Vinnytsia, Proskurov, Tarnopol. Those cities should be in our hands at the end of turn 2. Maybe Vinnytsia will give us a hard time because I'm expecting Soviet formations to be in here, and to push them out, probably not going to rout them all. They'll keep retreating and they'll get in our way, and we'll just run out of juice before we can take Vinnytsia. Same could be with Zhytomyr. But Rovno, Proskurov, and Tarnopol should definitely be within our grasp. The Romanians are still locked. They're not released for action. Same with the Hungarians and the Slovaks. But we do. This 14th Panzer Corps is freed up. That's great. As is... Oh, I forgot to reassign these as well. That was my other mistake. These 2 motorized divisions are freed up as well. So we're going to have a lot of combat power pushing east down here in the south. And we'll see if we can reach those objectives. Oh, and not to be... obviously, we're going to look for opportunities to destroy Soviet formations when we can and get some encirclements. And that's that. So I'm going to cut here, do a lot of the moves and infantry combat off camera, and we'll cut back and see where we're at. I'll be right back. And we're back. And the first question is, where are the Soviets? We kind of asked that at the beginning of the video. And after completing all the moves, apologies there, I was going to capture some significant attacks and movements. Well, I guess there could have been some movements I could have captured, but there wasn't much to show this turn for action. Just a whole lot of infantry slogging it moving east, and a bunch of panzer divisions burning a whole lot of fuel moving east. And here we see Army Group North moved as far as we could, the infantry divisions in the beginning, and they didn't make any contact until this security regiment and an NV and the 11th Rifle Division, NKVD, that's what I was trying to say. There was a little border garrison that held out here on a hasty attack, but we ended up making it surrender. And up here, there's maybe a formation, but if we move next to it, it could disappear. That's reported, what we think might be up there. So there may be a couple Soviet divisions within here, west of Riga, but I think they've all moved as fast as they could east. So for objectives, Army Group North, we succeeded in gaining territory going north and east, and we had the river crossing of the Daugava. That's about as far as we pushed the 56 Panzer Corps. There's not much to fight for the 56, and in reality, they are alone in a vast Russian landscape. There's no one to fight, but which way do they go? And there's only two divisions of the 56. So they're gonna not race too far ahead, wait for these infantry divisions to catch up. And they walked as fast as they could. We took Kaunas, cleared it, took Vilnius, cleared it, moved forward as far as we could, made minimal attacks, not much to really fight. Then we come down here. Army Group Center achieved its objectives for the most part. We took Minsk. We got a river crossing over the Berezina. And we sealed off the pocket mostly. It's pretty interesting. We'll click on a German division because I have show enemy territory, and it can show just where we've moved through enemy territory. The red is still the last occupant was the Soviets in these hexes. That's why they're red. So here was the front, and we had these security divisions. Remember, it was very lightly defended. So there were indicators that there were Soviet divisions kind of like that all over the place in here. But as we moved forward, they just disappeared. And as the pocket squished more and more narrow, we finally made contact and became adjacent to the Soviets trying to flee and not get snared in this pocket. We got a pretty decent haul here, and I think we'll be able to force a lot of these formations to rout or surrender in the next turn or two. Hopefully most of it in the next turn. I don't want to tie up too many of these infantry divisions of ours. I don't want to free up the relatively few panzer divisions we have operating in Army Group Center. So next turn we're going to hopefully eliminate the bulk of what's captured in this pocket, and all our infantry will catch up moving east, trying to catch up to the panzer divisions to start forming a front. Right now it's a very fragmented front as everyone is moving as fast as they can east and not keeping a line abreast. But it's a little helter-skelter the first couple of turns in War in the East. We've tried to maintain contiguous rail hexes, but it's really difficult in the early going because you move as fast as you can, where you can, and you can't cover every single hex as you try to achieve your objectives. Point out here, 63% fuel already. Turn 2 already. Motorized divisions, panzer divisions are suffering fuel shortages. So that limits the capabilities for these divisions during the turn for movement and combat purposes. Already it's happening. I have very few motorized and panzer divisions above 100% or close to it. And they didn't do a lot of fighting. We still have great supply and a lot of ammo. It's just the fuel, that precious fuel, that's going to become more and more scant. So that's it for Army Group South. What I want to show you, which is pretty cool, we move south, and here we are, Army Group South. Let's zoom out. We have achieved all of the objectives for week 2 for Army Group South. And as I was doing the moves, I immediately realized I was pretty ambitious for the objectives I placed on Army Group South. But we just managed. And again, where's Ivan? He was really nowhere to be seen. There was very little contact. Once we started to move the infantry divisions east and we broke out of that bottleneck, that little wedge we made, or a slice, and we managed to widen it greatly and deepen it greatly. So it's a legitimate breakout. However, again, very fragmented, stringing along divisions to maintain a corridor to protect our flanks, and our panzers are very isolated right now. But there's a lot of red hexes here, showing that the Soviets have last occupied them. We weren't able to really push our controlled hexes further than they are right now. It's a little concerning, but I doubt highly that we are going to get counterattacked, because there's really no Soviet formations in position to do so, at least on an operational scale. Maybe on a very localized attacks against us will be very localized. Very doubtful along here. These Soviet divisions are going to be going south and east, trying to avoid contact. Very unlikely they're going to attack, and frankly, I don't care if they do. They're just going to lock themselves in position more, and they're not going to do any damage. They're not going to achieve anything. This is a little. We'll see if they attack. I don't think they will. They might attack maybe once. They have 2 fresh tank divisions against very low fuel Das Reich and the 10th Panzer Division. And 13th Panzer Division had the honors of getting Vinitsa, and 6th Panzer took Zhytomyr, and we're not far from Kiev. Historically, Kiev, they were fighting in and around Kiev mid to late August. I have Army Group South book here, but I can confirm that. But last recollection when I was reading a couple days ago, yeah. So we're keeping pace. I think we're even at a greater pace in the south than what happened historically in the first weeks of the war. And that's mainly because I've augmented Army Group South with 3 extra Panzer Corps. And it was pretty cool. You come up here where we had, I forget, who was it? Anyways, the Panzer Corps that was up here that had 3 divisions frozen for 1 turn, we hopped them on a railed them all down here. They detrained, and they managed to move. Yeah, I believe it was the 14th Panzer Corps managed to move all the way down here. Almost. Moving towards Proskurov. So that was awesome. I didn't think they'd get that far after they detrained, but they didn't have to move as far as the other Panzer Corps I took from Army Group North. So that's great. And even more important, we didn't burn the fuel from their original location. That's the fuel that was burnt from when they detrained. So that is good. So that's the situation as we have it now. I wanted to record, have on camera some of these moves and some of the attacks, but for the sake of time and getting more into one video that I can upload, I wanted to get as far forward in this turn as I could and only capture some of the real significant stuff. And if you want to see more of the moves, definitely let me know and I will show more. But right now we're probably running at 15 minutes. So I'm going to step aside again, go off camera and tidy up some of these divisions where I want to make sure they are definitely within command and control. And if there's anyone I missed that needs to be reassigned to a Corps headquarters so that they're in supply for next turn. And I will probably, which I should have done in the first, before I even started this turn 2, is run some recon, air recon mode. You can click on that, and then you can click on AI and it'll run some recon for you. And it's very helpful before you start your turn to see where the buildups are and then plan accordingly. And I didn't do that. I should have done that, but I don't think it would have made a difference at all this turn. Got to remember to do that next turn. Alright, I'm going to step aside again, and I will see you in a bit. And we're back again. So I went through north to south, checked out every headquarter, made sure the divisions are in supply, command and control. The railroad engineers, there's a few that you can control manually. So I went about and repaired railroads. Here are some railroad engineers that the computer controls. I can't do anything with them. So they're going to go much slower than the one I can manually control, but it'll be on autopilot and they'll slowly inch along the rail lines, re-gauging to really help out the supply situation for the Germans. But it takes a while. It takes much too long, in my opinion, when I'm playing the Germans. So I did that. I made sure there were no dangling divisions that were out of command and control that had to be re-signed. So I didn't used up. Probably I had 60 to start with. I used about 30 so far, and that was mostly just reassignments of divisions to headquarters to keep them in supply. And I just made sure a lot of obsessive compulsion in me, so I went back and forth to make sure I didn't forget anybody in the back here. If you see anybody I forgot, just let me know. These guys are frozen for one turn, so I can't move them. And that's about it. I think at this point, I always think I forgot something, but hey, fog of war. I'm about to press end turn, and we can capture that and see what the Soviets do. I'm a little nervous. I forgot to mention this. I put a security division in Brest-Litovsk with some serious Soviet formations right here next door. I mean, they could be a pain in attack and most likely will dislodge the security division and take it, but I doubt it. I think they're all gonna flee back. That was the major not major, but that was a concern before I click the the button. Let's just do it. I'm going to do it. And we will capture... Oh, great, thank you for that. Sorry about that. And we will capture our first Soviet turn. Because it's going to be... Let's focus here. And see what happens. Because this is the pocket. Here goes. Oh. I'll find it yet. End this turn. I'm going to do it. So, AI is processing, thinking over its moves, going through all the steps. A lot of logistic steps. It's about a 3 to 4 minute process, 3 to 5 minutes. Just gives you an idea of the detail in this game as it goes through the processing. Oh. Okay, so there's an interdiction. Moving out. That is in the pocket. Where is he going? Oh. He moved north. And they're retreating down the rail line into, towards the Pripyat. Wow, that's all we saw. I'm surprised we didn't see more in the pocket because we are directly adjacent to all those forces that were trying to move heading east towards Minsk. That's interesting. Well, that was it. Not much to write home about, but that's all right. Oh, yes, I apologize. I meant to do this at the beginning of this video before I started the moves and the attacks. This is the total losses to date. And we can see current turn, and then you can see totals. Axis losses are displayed here. Soviet losses here. So for permanent losses total, 361,713 so far. And the current turn, this is how much we inflicted. Only 323 guns and only 113. Again, we didn't do much fighting. It was all pursuit. And some captures, no, disabled. Pretty significant here. Was wounded. Wounded will return to the front as replacements down the road. Not bad. So, Soviet losses are definitely mounting. Where are our total vehicles? Right here. 2,059. Not bad, but that's really a drop in the bucket. For what the Soviets can produce. But hey, better than nothing. So that's a quick snapshot of the losses and the great detail, specifically broken down by tank type, armored cars, half tracks, the different types of squad, order of battle, table of organization and equipment, and artillery as well. So that's it. That was a turn. We're going to be on to turn 3, and I think we'll end the video here. So that's pretty good. We got a full turn in with one video, and only one video, and it's going to be around 30-35 minutes. strive to do better. We'll get more turns in, multiple turns in for a single video moving forward. That's the goal. But I hope you liked it. And the battle is starting to shape up. We'll take a closer look at the layout and what the Soviets might be doing other than retreating in the next video. So I'm going to call it here. Thank you for watching. This is First Fire Non-Assault Move out.